The property I bought is 630K and it's renting currently for 580 per week. It is on an average around 5 to 7K per month. So I would say around monthly I am paying $800 to $1,000, which is before tax. I prefer renting myself and doing some investment in the property for future. There is no right moment. Whenever you invest, that is the right moment, because down the line after 6 months, based on the appreciation I got, I would be spending 30, 40, 50K extra, right?
Just to buy the same
Just to buy the same property. I was not even considered any other buyer agent before that, and I think you're the first and the last. So my name is Satyen Tripathi. I'm 46-year-old. I live in Glenwood suburb in Sydney, a nice suburb, and I think you are also living in Glenwood. So
Yes, can't
closer to
complain.
me.
Yes.
I have two kids, 13 and 5, co-parenting with them, and spend most of the time with the kids, or apart from kids, just spending time most in my work, where I work as a IT and data and quality delivery manager in a IT consulting firm.
What was the most interesting part for you during our journey?
Most surprising part for me during our journey, I would say, is meeting with you. In the sense, I was anyway looking for a buyer agent. I wasn't sure who to who to meet to or who to approach to. And one of my very good friend, I was having a discussion with him, and he highly recommended you. And he said that, oh, if you're looking for a buyer agent, connect with Adil. And he seemed to have a very good experience with you, and he was like talking so much good things about you. And I was like, okay, sure, I have to meet with you. And the very first moment when I met with you, I know you are the guy I should go with. And the good thing was, I was not even considered any other buyer agent before that. And I think you're the first and the last.
That's good. That feels like an eternal kind of thing. But thanks very much for your honesty. So, what was it when we did have a chat, and what was it that we were okay? We were the first, but why were we the last in your search list? Why did not you go and start looking for other? Because there are thousands of buyers agents now. So, what was the thing that made you feel that yeah, I just need to stick with a deal?
What I think the reason was, you were very clear in the communication. Look, so for me, I'm very clear what I want and what I don't want. So if at the very first moment I got what I wanted, there is no point for me to look for some other options, right? So that's the first thing. And the other thing was, when we had our initial chat, you were very clear on your thoughts and very understanding on what I wanted. We had a discussion of what are my financial goals, what is it that I'm trying to achieve. We had a good 1 hour call. After initial discussion, we had a call later on to understand my requirements.
Yep.
What is it I'm after? How I want to see my future in 10, 15 years, and what exactly is I want to achieve out of that, right? So that's something which I find it very helpful, and I think you were clearly able to articulate those things to me, and which resonate with me exactly, which I wanted to hear and which I wanted to see myself. So that clicked very well, and I think that was the reason I didn't need anyone else to look after.
It's interesting you mentioned about it. I remember that chat as well.
Yeah.
It was a very good chat, and you said I still need time to think over it. And I said, okay, let's good. Let's connect after the weekend. It was a Friday when we had that meeting, and on Friday evening, the same day, I met someone at a Diwali event, and I was like, man, you look so tall. I could not even recognize you. So it was actually you.
Yeah,
I met you in
I
person.
think that was a very funny moment, because we had a long 1 hour call in the morning and evening when we met, and I was like, why this guy is not recognizing me? Because probably when we were having a chat, we were both sitting, and then you didn't realize that I'm so tall, being 6 foot 2 inch.
Yep.
And that may be the reason. But yeah, it was good meeting you there, and then it's always good to meet a person who you're talking to, and that gives you a more personal relationship, and that interaction which you may not get every time when you are on a video call or on a
True.
True. So that personal interaction, especially on the same day, like
Very same
that
day.
was
Like
just a
after a few hours, it was.
just a things clicked right on time.
Small world, right?
world,
It's
yeah.
a small world. So let's go back. Before we actually met, what were your biggest fears about the property market in general, or about property investing in general? What were your fears, or what was your thought process about it overall?
So my biggest fear about the property market before I met you was basically not being able to find the property which are based on my some criterias which I have identified myself, and also in the price range which I'm after looking after, right? So I did a lot of research beforehand, chat GPT, real estate, and you get some answers, but you get some other questions which get you more confused, right? So
Yep.
so it's very hard to come up with exactly where you want to invest, right?
Yep.
So that was my biggest fear. I wanted to make sure that I don't get late. The other fear was every delay in a month, considering the property market we have right now in Sydney or in whole Australia as such, every delay in 2 or 3 months, the property prices are getting raised again and again. And then whatever your budget was, that you have to keep increasing your budget. You may be able to find a property right now in the right range, but if you delay it for further 5 6 months, probably that property may be gone up and it won't be in your range again. So then you are back to the same square one, and then you have to do the whole research again.
Yep.
So that was my biggest fear.
And I think you mentioned a very good point as well, because you leave it for 3 months or 6 months. The other thing is, it's not just the property prices going up, it's the interest rates going up as well.
Yes.
So your borrowing is actually going down with time
Yes.
as a common man.
Yes.
So you may have a salary of $200,000, $300,000,
Right.
whatever it is, but your borrowing is going down with every interest rate rise. And what we have seen in the past, when interest rates rise, that happened in 2022, 2023. When the interest rates rise, the inflation goes up. When
Yeah.
inflation goes up, property market responds, because you can't build new homes that easily.
Yeah.
Construction cost has gone up.
Yeah.
So new homes become something of the past. It's very hard to build new homes. People can't afford it. And now suddenly you are back to, okay, now we have to buy established properties. So suddenly everyone is looking for good established properties, and they start
Yeah.
rising in value.
Yeah, definitely. That's that you're absolutely right, because it's not just the price which get increased. It's there are other things around that, because inflation happens, everything is increasing, not just the property, and then you have to manage your salary is not increasing unfortunately with the same proportion, right? So you have to
Exactly.
manage everything within that same salary.
Yeah.
So your borrowing capacity is decreasing, and then you have to keep looking for other things and making sure that you have that buffer also when there is an increase. If there is a further increase in interest rate, you have to keep that buffer in place so that you
Yep.
don't go into mortgage stress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mortgage stress is a very important point you
Mm.
mentioned about. And that also brings me to a question. Everyone is talking about, hey, property market is going to crash. Let the interest rates go up for
Mm.
two, three more times,
Mm.
and then the market would crash.
Mm.
What is your take on that? What are your thoughts?
Look, my thought is, my father used to say, or as my parents used to say, or I think it's a common saying back home, that the day you buy a property, that will be the lowest priced of that property on that day, right? What it means is, property value never goes down, it always goes up, especially in the housing market. Not apartment may be down and up, but houses, if you're buying, or the land you are buying, it will always go up. So if you're buying it today, it will be at the lowest price today. If you go try to buy it tomorrow, it will be definitely $1 up of what you are supposed to pay today. So things may crash, may not crash, but the way I see the property market is going, and the way I see, considering the way property market is going right now, I think it's better. It's never too late to start. The sooner you start, it's better for me. If you have that power, if you have the purchasing power, if you have that money for you, then there is no point of you waiting for next 6 months to look after for a better property. There are properties right now in the market, and there will be properties right now in the market 6 months later on.
Yep.
But the only difference is that they may not be in your borrowing capacity 6 months down the line, which are available right now. So
True. Very true.
so if it's there, just go for it. There's no point of holding it back.
Yeah.
Thanks to you, I was able to get in very quickly, and I am reaping the results out of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you want to share about the property you bought? Like what price? How has it performed?
Yeah, so the property I bought is 630K. That is in regional Victoria. Um, I can see, and it's renting currently for 580 per week, which is a very good rental considering in a regional area. I'm really happy with that, the rental return. And also on an average, I can see it's giving me, if I see the way property has been appreciated in last 6 months, it is on an average around 5 to 7K per month, which is very good considering the national average of around same 6-7% yearly. That comes out to be a really good investment, and thanks to you.
Thank you. So essentially, what you're saying is your property is going by 5 to 7 grand a month.
Yeah.
Which means in the last 5 6 months it has probably gone up by 30 to 40 grand. Is it fair to say?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Now, well done. Good
Yeah, yeah,
decision. I mean,
yeah.
you can always procrastinate. You can always wait for the perfect time. You can always wait for the stars to align,
Yes.
which never do for anyone.
Yeah.
So, well done to you, to be honest.
And thanks to you for pushing me to go for it and don't wait for any new thing. Like the good thing I liked it is when you recommended me this property, I was asking you questions about, because obviously you always try to refer to chat gpt, and you have given me all those points that why this property is good, what are the ticks, it's all the checkpoints which we have discussed initially.
Yep.
But in back of the mind, you always try to convince yourself and look into chat gpt and think of what else you can ask,
what can go wrong?
what can go wrong, right?
What is it that I'm not
Yes,
getting known?
yes,
I
but
want to know everything about it.
but then you said that it's a good one, don't wait for it, and luckily it was off market, so we had opportunity, we can put an offer and get it straight away rather than waiting for an auction. And who knows, auction nowadays they can go either way.
Exactly.
So it turns out to be very well, and I think it was a very good decision for me.
No, well done to you. And you mentioned about the property price, you mentioned about the rental income. You also talked about the growth. I want to step back and I want to ask you what this property actually means for your family, for your financial goals, because you talked about your financial goals earlier. What does that mean for that financial goals?
Yeah, so look, as I mentioned earlier, I'm co-parenting with my kids. So for me, personally speaking, I like the idea of rent investing. I prefer renting myself and doing some investment in the property for future. In that way, in future, if I decided to move into that property, I have that option. Or even if I'm keep on renting myself, that property gives me a confidence that that is available during my later period of age when I'm retiring. Probably by the time, hopefully, I would pay off the mortgage, it will appreciate, and then it gives some kind of property for my kids to pass on, and then they don't have to worry about their future, because the way it is going right now, even we are finding it very hard to buy a property ourselves. When I think of future, I think that it will be gonna be very difficult for the kids to buy themselves. Like there are so many uncertainties.
Yep.
So if you can help your kids in advance, if you can buy those properties, they can utilize this, and they don't have to. They have one less thing to worry about, a land or the house for themselves, and they can do their own things separately. Yeah.
Very true. And
Yeah.
I mean, that is where you can definitely help them with either handing them over the whole property fully
Yeah.
paid in 20 years, or you can give them a good, let's say, 500,000 deposit in 10 years' time
Definitely.
when they're ready to go.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's why that goal is really important. If people don't have that goal,
Yeah.
I think people always like, I need to keep working hard, I need to keep saving money. And that is another question of mine. What are your thoughts on saving money in the bank account versus buying assets? And over here, I'm not talking about just property.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about investing and doing investing with the right due diligence, not just buying anything randomly. So, what are your thoughts on that? Would you like to save money in the bank account or invest it somewhere?
Look, to be frank or to be honest, I used to save money in bank account, and but over the period I've realized that it's not worth saving the money, because bank, you will get mostly 4, 5, 6% of interest, and that interest itself is taxable, right? So you will end up paying more, right? And what I've seen over the past 10 years, or the way the property market is booming here, people are getting a very good return, definitely more than 6% interest which you are getting on the bank. And then it is creating you an asset also. It's not just the money which is sitting there on the bank, because you are not utilizing that money. It's at the end of the day, it's just sitting there.
Yep.
Unless you are investing in stock, or unless you are investing in property. Stock, again, being in IT, being working in my field, I don't get that much of time to look into stock. I did some investing in the stock, and then I ended up losing everything, because then, although it was a very small amount, but then it made me realize that this is not something which I can do it myself, and it's very hard for me to look onto stocks and manage all these things.
Just one thing over here before There is no financial advice over here.
Yeah.
So it's totally what Satyen is sharing his own personal experience,
Yeah.
and he's not giving out any advice to anyone. So if you love stocks, please go for them.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not against investing in stock. People did made a lot of money in stocks also compared to housing. So no one can deny that one is bad or one is good.
Exactly. It's your choice what
But
you
it's
wanna
your
do.
choice. But for me, I find it the reason for me going into property market was that being in a profession where I don't get much time to invest, much time to focus, much time to uh, give myself in it and spend time when I'm working with kids or spending time with family.
Yep.
It's very hard
Yep.
to uh, to look into that,
Yep.
and that was the reason for me to work with you so that I can put everything on you.
Yep.
And I have one less thing to worry about.
Yep.
And that's what you did, right? So that's a good thing for me that you did the all the hard part for
Yep.
me, and all I have to do was to say yes or
Yep.
no, right?
I mean, hats off to you as well, because I remember when I presented this opportunity, or every time we had a chat, you were pretty precise with your questions.
Mm.
And when you got the answer, you were satisfied. You
Yeah.
were ready to move ahead.
Yeah.
You were not asking questions for the sake of questions.
Yeah.
You were asking questions to make a decision.
Yeah, because
There's a difference.
there was no reason for me to ask, because whatever I asked, you answered correctly. So there's no point for me to ask what else I can ask, right?
Exactly.
So anyway, you ticked all the boxes, so there was nothing more for me to ask.
At any point of time where I really annoyed you?
I don't think so. Not annoyed at all. Nothing being annoying at all. No.
Or made you feel absolutely gutted, or I just want to kill this guy, or
Oh, no. Definitely not that way. But I do have a complaint that still haven't got the pictures from our yearly high tea. I did tell you a couple of times, and I was talking to him also earlier when he came. Like you were the guy, and I need those pictures. I am still waiting for those
you
pictures.
will get those
That's
pictures.
something I was waiting for.
First thing tomorrow, you will get those
Yes,
pictures.
definitely.
For
Yeah.
sure, you will.
Yeah.
Now, coming back, with all this environment right now, the
Yeah.
tensions in the Middle East,
Hmm.
interest rates are rising in
Hmm.
Australia, people are apprehensive, cost of living is going up.
Hmm.
Do you think you made a right decision to buy property 6 months ago, or you should have waited?
No, I think I made a right decision. There is no point for me to wait. What I think is obviously interest rates are going up, inflation is going up, but they are very dynamic, right? So we have seen a time where interest rate was almost zero, right? And inflation was almost zero, and now it is sitting at 6%, and they used to be 15% like 20 years back, right?
Yep.
So it's just a market dynamics. It will go up, sometime it will go down, but the property prices, very high chances that they will not go that much down. They will always keep going up. And as long as you have that money sitting with you in bank, sitting idle, you have that borrowing capacity, and you are ready to go, then there is no point of waiting for the right moment, right? So there is no right moment. Whenever you invest, that is the right moment, because down the line after 6 months, you will be looking at the same property, because had I not been invested into my current property, if I had looked at the same property now after 6 months, based on the appreciation I got, I would be spending 30, 40, 50K extra, right?
Just to buy the same
Just to buy the
property.
same property.
Yep.
And then I have to look after adding more into my that 20%, 10% down payment, whatever I have to do, that
Plus, you have
plus you have to
40 grand extra means you have to pay interest on that for the next 30
everything,
years.
everything.
So you
Yes,
just keep creating more challenges for your own self,
yes,
isn't it?
yes.
So the entire journey that we worked
Mm.
together, for the time you signed up with us up until signed the property
Mm.
contract, and then you settled on it, which
Mm.
was like 8 week duration.
Mm.
In that time frame, I know you have a busy life.
Mm.
You have kids to look after.
Mm.
You have a very demanding job.
Mm.
How much time did you have to spend yourself on that property acquisition?
I would say around 2 hours per week, so which comes around 16, 17 hours in total 8 weeks of that journey. That includes everything, including reviewing the documentation that was coming over to me, going through the contracts,
Yep.
signing it, if there were any follow-up questions with you, and then those types of things. So which I found it very good, because that's something which is totally perfect sitting with me. I don't want to spend a lot of time in doing all those things. And thankfully, you are already doing everything in the background, so it saves a lot of time from my side.
Yep.
And I was spending only the time that is needed from my
Yep.
side. Yeah.
Cool. Like, how good was it knowing that if someone is taking care of all the work like due diligence,
Hmm.
talking to agents, negotiations, counsel research, and someone else is doing it for you? How good was it for you that you don't have to do any of that?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, and that's the main important thing when you are buying a property. By yourself or buying a buyer agent, right? So when I was thinking about buying it myself, I didn't have all these questions in my mind. All I was looking for, which suburb to look for, what is the property I wanted to, and what is the price range. Those are the
Obvious
obvious
questions.
questions,
Yep.
right? But when you interact, when I interacted with you, that time I came to know there are other things also. It's not just about buying a property, it's about buying a property in a right suburb. You have more details about the property in terms of which I don't have access to, right? In terms of what are the future prospects of that suburb. You have more access to off market properties, which probably you won't be able to find in real estate. And again, on top of that, finding out working with the local experience with the local real agents, which gives you more access to different kinds of varieties, and it helps you negotiate in a better terms also, right? If had I been buying that property, I wouldn't have negotiated because I don't know how to do that, right? And that helped me where you have negotiated on my behalf. Whether I would, if they would have asked me a property for say 650, I would have paid 650, right? But then you negotiated, and that itself saved me a lot of my fees back. So
Initially, they were talking about 650, 655 on that
here you
one, to
go.
be honest.
So right,
And we
so
got it for 630, which was really good. And you moved fast. So you took the advice,
yeah,
you took the decision that was good, because in these off market deals, you have to negotiate and move quickly.
yes,
If you leave it for 2 days, the
yeah,
deal is gone.
deal is
You
gone.
can't do that.
Yeah,
And that brings me to another question about your cash flow.
yeah,
A very important thing, of course, with the rising inflation, people talk
Mm.
about interest rates, people talk about
Mm.
out of pocket expenses in property, negative gearing.
Mm.
So, is your property covering all your expenses, or you're paying something out of pocket every month?
No, no, I'm definitely paying out of pocket. It did cover a good amount of monthly repayment from rent, but not everything.
Yep.
Because you have to pay some other landlord insurance, other insurances, and then
Council rates,
council rates and
management,
management,
maintenance comes up every now and
maintenance,
then.
water. Now there are many other
Yep.
things which you have to do every now and then.
Yep.
So I would say around monthly, I'm paying $800 to $1,000, which is before tax. But then on the flip side, I am getting 5 to 7,000 appreciation monthly. So that's a no-brainer for me.
On average.
On average, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's like a trade-off. That's like a business investment you've done.
Yes, yes. And on a safer side, just I when I invested, I just made sure that I keep a good amount of money in my offset account so that I don't have to worry about all these extra expenses. When we discussed about this property, we already knew that this is something I would be paying out of pocket, but I wanted to keep some buffer also. So it gives me extra kind of a confidence.
Yep.
And then if that over the period, I'm pretty sure that will work out well, and then it gives me a confidence to look for some other property
Yep.
next time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because right now you're negatively geared on your property, but in 3 years' time, the expectation is
Yeah.
it will be cash flow neutral,
Yeah.
because that's when your rents will go from 580 a week right now
Yeah.
for potentially 650, 700 a week.
Yeah.
In 3 to 4 years, your mortgage will start going down because you are paying it.
Yeah.
So that's where you will you will hit that cash flow neutral aspect,
Yeah.
and then you will have another problem to care about. Now I'm getting money from my property and I have to pay tax
Pay
on it.
tax on it.
I want to save tax. So that's a lot of some of the clients who started working like 4 years and 5 years ago. They come and now say, "Oh, now my property is cash flow positive. What do I do with you?" I said, "I can't help you with that. You have to pay
You have to
ITO."
pay it, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not,
definitely.
but that is
Yeah.
a good problem to have.
Yes, that's a good problem to have.
At the end of the day, if you are making extra $100 a week on your property in cash flow being positive, yes, you will pay probably $30, $40 out of it to the ATO, but you're still getting 60 in your pocket.
Yes, yes.
So who would lose that?
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. I know we had a great journey together, great learnings.
Yeah.
We live in the same suburb. We have a common friend circle as well.
Yeah.
What can we do differently if we have to do it again?
I would have invested early, because I remember when I had chatted with you that time, I have already spent 6 7 months before that. And now if I look back, I see that had I started my journey 6 7 months earlier than that, then probably I would have been at a different stage right now. I would have been looking at investing another property, right?
Yep.
So you never know.
Exactly.
But that's something, that's why I was telling that, if you have capacity, do it right now rather than waiting for 6 more months or waiting for that perfect moment. There is no perfect moment to buy, or there is no perfect wait time to buy a property. Whenever you buy, that is the right time, and you have to have time and patience. Give it some time, and then you will reap the good fruits out of it, right?
Yep. And I
Yeah.
think it's also important that you buy straight away, but you also buy the right thing.
Yes.
There are lots of crap out there as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy crap just to make it happen straight
Yes.
away. You have to
Yeah.
buy the right thing, the right due diligence on the suburb, on the street, on the property.
Yeah.
It should rent out well. It should grow in
Yeah.
value. It should not give you maintenance headaches.
Yeah.
It should not tank your rental yield. These are the important aspects as
And
well.
buy with the right agency. So
Thank you for that. But
So-
even if someone is buying on their own, but as long as they buy and they do the right thing,
yes.
I would be happy.
Yeah. So the whole purpose of having a buyer agent is you get an extra layer of confidence where there are things which you have done by yourself, you would have missed that, but then you have that extra layer where they also helping you out, because that's what they are doing, right? So everyone is professional in their own profession. So buyer agents are, that's what their job is, right? They do it day in and day out. So
Yep.
they know many things which you can skip, and that's where it helps you to make the right decision, guide you to for a right decision.
That's very, very important, and
Yeah.
everyone should do their job correctly.
Yeah.
That's what you would expect. But thanks very much for sitting down with us,
Yeah, thank you.
skipping and delaying your dinner.
No, that's
being
all
with us.
good.
I know your girls are waiting for you, so we will let you go. Enjoy your pizza.
No, thank you. Thanks
Thanks for
for
joining us
thanks
today.
for your time, and it was really good working with you, Adil, and I look forward to work with you in future also.
Very soon.
Yep.
Let's make it happen.
Yep.